There is a showdown in the NPP this Saturday, and tonight on PM Express, we're going to help you understand where the key battlegrounds are, where the key battleground constituencies are, and why they are battleground constituencies. This is your election headquarters, always brought to you by Petrosol. This is PM Express. Welcome. We're going to be having some new faces to talk to, and very interesting new faces. Some of them you've heard on television, but also across really all facets of life. They have decided that they are going to pitch their camp in the NPP, but in Parliament in 2025. And some of them are coming up against some heavyweights, incumbent MPs, some of them ministers, and they want to unseat them. They want to do giant killing on Saturday. Some of them will join us for a conversation tonight. But what I want to start first is to help you appreciate the contest, the key areas where we are focusing, and you should be focusing, the areas that are generating all the interest, so we understand what is at stake as we get into Saturday, where the incumbent New Patriotic Party will be electing its parliamentary aspirants, getting them into a candidate mode for the 2024 elections. And why is that important? If they get this wrong and the fracture after that is not healed, the party for the next few months going into the elections will be crippled in Parliament, because the incumbents will fall and there will be casualties. It turns out that in cases such as that, they tend to withdraw. They tend not to give the party all, and government business sometimes is frustrated. Let's go to one constituency that we are watching tonight for you. And this began to unfold today. And this, I'm talking about the Ekrapim South contest. And as you know, you have Obi Amwa there. And Obi Amwa, as you know, is the Minister of State responsible for the local government minister, Minister of State there. And he, also the incumbent member of Parliament for this particular constituency, today said he's withdrawing from the race. So he has withdrawn from the race. And that's why we put an X sign there. The incumbent only with 3 days to go before the polls pulling out. But there is a more fascinating story behind this decision to pull out. And this gentleman here, we struggle to get his picture, and we don't want to get it wrong. So you have an image there of his likeness, if you may. But Eric Yeboah-Pedu is his special aide. Both of them picked the forms together. And many were wondering in the constituency, in the Ekrapim South constituency, why in God's name is the incumbent member of Parliament, the Minister of State, picking up nomination forms to contest in the primary with his special aide. It was a tactic, apparently, because there was a gentleman there who was the municipal chief executive, Mr. Frank Edu, who also wanted to contest. He had shown his hand, played his hand, was campaigning already, but the party's rules are very clear on the matter, that if you are incumbent district chief executive, municipal chief executive, metropolitan chief executive, you cannot contest in a parliamentary primary in a constituency where the party has a sitting member of parliament. You can't. That's what the rule says. If you want to contest, you must have resigned 2 years prior. So as we now learning, when Obi Amwa, from all the reports that we've heard from the constituency, learned about the possibility that the MCE wanted to contest, because he wanted his special aide to go in there. And knowing that the MCE had not resigned 2 years prior, decided, well, I am going to pick nomination forms and contest. What that automatically does is disqualify the municipal chief executive from contesting. And so he picked up nomination forms, disqualifying the MCE from contesting. And then as it turns out, 3 days to the polls, he's resigned, not pulled out from the race, withdrawn from the race, leaving his special aide to go in there. And of course, as we know, what it means is that he will obviously be very active, helping his cause, campaigning and talking to delegates for him, and he's very confident that he will win. That is politics for you. People are strategizing and thinking about all manner of ways to knock out their biggest threat. Because in this case, the MCE was the biggest threat. And he found a way to do so, using and playing by the rules. And that, by the way, is a story of Ekrapim South. Very fascinating indeed. What that means is that it raises the profile of this constituency immediately. So we're going to be focusing there. One of the battleground constituencies. Will his protege win? Or others will attempt to make sure that in spite of all the maneuverings, he doesn't actually get to Parliament. That's an interesting story there in Ikuapem South. That's why we focus on that first. But what are the numbers? We like numbers on PM references, don't we? A few of them to pay attention to. Total number of candidates in here, we have 376 of them who will be, attempting to get into Parliament. Some of them incumbents who want to return on Saturday. You also have the qualified aspirants there. Some of them were disqualified. 17 of them, as you know, 3, 2, 1 of them managed to go through. And some of the 17, some of them are aggrieved, right? And as we know, we have a case in court right now that meant that particular constituency isn't going to be part of the contest come Saturday. And that is why you have a situation where you have 136 contests happen on Saturday, because you know in Parliament the NPP has 137 members of Parliament there, but because of that court case, one of them won't go on Saturday. These are my guests who will be joining me tonight for a conversation. You know him already. Charles Bisu is the former presidential staffer. He is going to run in the Sikado Ketan constituency. Yesterday, you watched Joe Gate, who is the outgoing member of Parliament for Sikado Ketan, who obviously is not going anymore. And that place now is open for everybody to contest. And Charles Bisu wants to get in there. Well-known face. He has his own controversies with the NAS and the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, but he's there. He wants to run. Claudia Kwarteng Lumo, CEO of the Glitz Africa of Orichrome, is also, of course, contesting, and we wanted to have a woman in the conversation. She's done a lot in this particular area in terms of the bringing women together to celebrate their achievements. Very famous in that particular field. He wants to bring that star quality to the contest. We'll see how he performs. Of course, Dr. Gideon Boako, you know him. He's been on this show many, many times. He's the economic advisor for the vice president there. He's coming up against a formidable opponent in the sanitation minister, Frida Pempe. This is going to be one of the interesting contests to watch. But from all sources there, we'll tell you what the polls have been saying in his constituency. You'll come to this gentleman here, who has been on the show before, by the way. He's also the spokesperson for the education ministry in the Asante Achim North constituency. Another very interesting constituency. I'll tell you why pretty shortly. He also wants to run. The interesting thing about the education ministry and spokespersons is that the last spokesperson is in Parliament. He also ran and won, right? And he also wants to follow suit there. They will join me for a conversation. I'm looking forward to this. Charles Bisu, obviously, in this constituency, is also doing putting a lot of work to try and see if he can get into Parliament. Okay, now let's isolate his constituency. I'm talking about the Sikado Ketan constituency. You see, he's coming up against somebody else who is in a current position appointed by the president, the deputy director general of the NLA. And this is a theme that you begin to see as we go along in the analysis. A lot of the areas that we are watching have contestants there who they're holding on to government positions. And we've seen complaints already that they come in with a lot of resources. And people say, of course, having been in this position, it comes with the resources. And then they make sure that the contest has become even keener than it would have been. And that's the situation there with Anna Homa Akwesi Mieza. But Charles Bisu is also in that fight. He is very, very popular with the party there. Of course, I've said he has his own controversies that he has to deal with. Giovanni. And yesterday when I spoke to Joe Gate, he mentioned his name because he says a lot of the candidates here in that constituency have been using his name to campaign. People record secret meetings and send to him. He says, well, he doesn't even want to hear them, so that he becomes even more apprehensive of what is happening. That's an interesting contest because Joe Gate is leaving. Joe Gate's own, I put that question to him. His performance in the national elections has been dwindling consistently. His poorest performance yet was 2020. He had around 50%. In fact, the president was far more popular in the Sikado Ketan constituency, getting some 33,000 votes compared to Joe Gate's 26,000 votes. And some people say the time was just right. The writing was on the wall. He doesn't want to take the party into the opposition in that particular constituency. So time to step away. But any of these people capable of improving the party's fortunes there, we'll find out. And the delegates will also have to make a decision. And then you go to a place like Orichrome constituency, where Claudia obviously is. It's an interesting place because you have some interesting party stalwarts there, people who are holding positions like the Deputy CEO of the National Youth Authority, Nelson Owusu-Ansah, is there. The pricing manager at Bost is also in that race. Executive Director of Senlos is also there. I mean, very interesting contest is emerging. And then Joseph Teyiri is also there. One woman against 4 gentlemen. What is the outcome going to be on Saturday? We'll watch this very closely. Oh, this is the context that a lot of people are looking forward to. And I am looking forward to this one because this one will be very, very interesting. Dr. Gideon Obako obviously is the economic advisor to the vice president. As you know, he is now the flag bearer of the party. And he wants to oust the incumbent member of parliament who also doubles as a sanitation minister. A formidable candidate, of course, in that constituency. But Gideon is coming in with a bit of public face. He is the economic advisor to the chairman of the economic management team, who happens to be the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. Look, take it or leave it. People in that constituency will associate the vice president with him. They will vote for him because of that. There are many who will do so. That possibly is his strength. But he's coming up against an incumbent minister, right? Coming up against an incumbent member of parliament there. And there was a polling that I've read about just before we came on air about the national security, the NIB doing a poll in his constituency, of course, because you have a minister there, an incumbent member of parliament there. And that poll, from the reports, put him ahead. But the verdict, the final verdict, is in the hands of the delegates on Saturday. So that's an interesting one. And then you come to Asante Achim North, another very fascinating contest. Why? There are at least 3 individuals here who come to this particular table in this particular contest with a certain public profile, very high public profile. You know the incumbent member of parliament already, Andy Apiakubi. He became very, very famous last year when he, together with a few members of parliament, became the leaders of the rebel group in parliament that wanted to oust Ken Ofori-Atta. That's when his profile, public profile, really shot up. But he's been in politics for quite a while. And then guess who else is in the race? Kwadwo Bajiman. Kwadwo Bajiman is the former member of parliament for Asante Achim North. He's coming back to contest him. And then, of course, you have Kwesi Kwarteng, who I talked earlier, who is going to be on the show tonight for a conversation, who is a spokesperson for the education ministry, also in the Asante Achim North. You see why this area is going to be very interesting. And by the way, when he was there, it was a very, very interesting constituency because we used to talk to him a lot. He was very vocal. He's bringing all that power that he used to have back there. But this man was on Newsfile, was talking about people who come in, having been appointed by the president to serve on boards and SOEs, and they come in with the resources to make their lives a bit difficult. I don't know, was he talking about a technical advisor who is also in that particular race there, Samuel Kojo Frimpong? But this definitely is one to watch. Will the former member of parliament manage to unseat the man who succeeded him? And then will the current spokesperson for the education ministry do anything that will make it interesting? By the way, I must pause here and tell you, forget about everything I've said. I believe the Dom Kwabenyo race is the most exciting race to look forward to on Saturday. Let me tell you why. Because you have Adwoa Safo. Adwoa Safo has become pretty controversial. Why? Because for the very first time in our history, you have a sitting member of parliament on the ticket of the governing New Patriotic Party who was absent from parliament for so long while he was a minister. And then his own leaders in parliament, his own colleagues, right? Her own colleagues in parliament wanted her out. They wanted to remove her because he had breached a constitutional threshold of consistent absence without permission. They wanted her out. And that was a very fascinating period when the government needed her the most to assist in the process of approving some very important economic policies that would save this country. And she wasn't available. They chased her. We had to do an interview with her before the leaders in the House got to know where she was because they were waiting for her. In fact, there's an astounding case in Parliament that should have decided her fate. Whether she lost, that seat is declared vacant, and that hasn't moved forward. But she is on the ballot on Saturday. She was not even disqualified. And that for me is a very fascinating testimony. The outcome will say a lot. The constituents were upset that they couldn't connect with their MP who had abandoned them, right? That story is very fresh in many people's minds. And then you have the son of the former Speaker of Parliament, Mike Okoye Jr., also in the picture. This, by the way, is his third time attempting to get that seat from Sarah Adjo-Asafo. And so this primary contest is going to be interesting. Another reason why it's interesting is because the last time they came face to face and they clashed in 2020 in the parliamentary primary, the difference was 8 votes. Sarah Adjo-Asafo won with 8 votes. And there were many people who looked at what happened post the 2020 elections and say, the reasons why Sarah Adjo-Asafo may have taken the position she took, left the party in the lurch when they needed her the most in Parliament to prosecute government agenda, was because he was very unhappy that stalwarts of the party backed Mike Okoye Jr. against her, and she nearly lost that primary. And so there was payback. People have speculated that that was the case, really. So this is going to be a very interesting, fascinating case. I think for me, it's the most fascinating contest to look forward to on Saturday. Because if she wins, it will be possibly one of the biggest, I guess. Many people who wanted her out in Parliament would have felt this is an opportunity to get the delegates to kick her out through a process that is less controversial, because you're going to trigger the constitutional provisions to remove your own sitting member of Parliament and shoot yourself in the foot by having one less member there. It was the NDC that defended her, right? So you can see all the permutations and what may be happening between these two. It's going to be interesting indeed, of course. There's very little to say, considering what I've said about these two, about the third candidate there. But sometimes when two elephants fight, small little animal can take advantage of the fight. Can she? Can she ride on that? Can she step in between and take advantage of this giant clash? Doubt very much. One of them will win. Considering the tightness of the last race, it is everybody's game. But I'm looking forward to this one, and we are there for you. Remember, I want to go back and say one quick word. Look forward to our special report on Dom Kwabenya on Thursday. It's going to be fascinating. Watch it. We're spending some time in that constituency to understand what's going to happen, because this contest is going to be absolutely fascinating. And then, of course, this one is another one to watch. I mean, when you begin to look at all the juicy, fascinating contests this Saturday, you can't wait to join us at 7 a.m. in the morning of Saturday. Because you go to the Ashanti region. Bantama is going to be one of the key areas to watch. Why? Because you have the brother of Kennedy Japan contesting. And Kennedy Japan has been causing a lot of trouble in the Ashanti region for Asenso Boache, because his brother is contesting. He had said, very famous, widely circulated audio at one of the campaign events, threatening that he was going to expose and by the way, he is the incumbent member of Parliament, but also the Minister of State, Works and Housing, Minister for Works and Housing in Bantama. And Kennedy Japan had said that he's going to expose him because when he was the Deputy Chief of Staff, he was engaged in alleged corrupt practice. There's no evidence to support that particular claim, but he made that claim and he denied it. Again, accusations were made about government bungalows that had been sold to private firms. That was also denied. So this is going to be a very monumental clash in Bantama indeed. He has been riding on the back of his brother, throwing him into the campaign and taking some of the votes and the aura around Kennedy Japan when it comes to party delegates. Remember him in the primary? He was second, when many people thought Alan Chamanting, the super delegates, should be second. And of course, if you come to the primary itself, Kennedy Japan gave the vice president a good run for his money. And that is why many people think that Kennedy Japan is pulling those same delegates who voted for him then in the Ashanti region for his brother. But will that work? considering how controversial he sounds? Can he ride on the back of this? So we're watching this very, very closely in that particular constituency. Oh, goodness me. You have also another race there that is interesting in the Menchia South constituency. Why is this interesting? He is the incumbent member of parliament, but also the energy minister, who is widely tipped as one of the favorites to be the running mate to the vice president. And as you've seen, there are a lot of reports today and the day before, even Kennedy Japon himself in Ashanti region had said that he will not campaign for the party if he doesn't become running mate. So he's one of the widely tipped individuals to be. But he has a contest. Somebody is coming up against him. Helena is coming up against him. And Helena is determined to cause the biggest upset in political history. And that, by the way, is just just to state the point, that is going to be one of the, if indeed she manages to unseat Matthew Poku Pempe, you have to put that in the context of one of the most jaw-dropping contest outcomes ever in parliamentary history, parliamentary primary history. But we'll see. And the mere fact that he has a contest is one that many have looked at and say, but the other individuals who have been tipped don't have contests, right? You have either have decided not to go to parliament again. Joe Wise, Joe Sowus, who is the first deputy speaker of parliament. You have the leader of parliament, leader of government business in parliament, the minister of parliamentary affairs, the majority leader, Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, also not going again. And then you also have the education minister, who doesn't have a contest. In fact, he's going unopposed there. All of them tipped because the party has taken a decision that the running mate should come from the Ashanti region. How come a man who is widely tipped is getting a contest? And so we're going to watch this closely. He needs more than 90% of the votes there to leave absolutely no doubt that his core base in his constituency, among the delegates of the party, they are overwhelmingly behind him. And that if he gets to become the running mate, he can deliver that, his popularity. Because you are nobody in politics without your base. And he needs to bring that base to the table on Saturday. He needs to get, because of course, many of you say this is a David and Goliath fight. He needs to show that Goliath will not be killed with a sling. And to do that, he will possibly need to kill this fly with a sledgehammer. Can he deliver that sledgehammer effect on Saturday? Is a question that we need to answer. The delegates will help us do that on Saturday. And then, goodness me, as I go through this, you begin to see every slide is one that you cannot avoid. And then you have the case of Asante Akim Central, where you have a Nyumedo Entry, who is incumbent member of parliament, who is a chair of the parliamentary select committee on the parliamentary select committee on constitutional legal affairs. He is coming up against the CEO of NEIP. And this contest is interesting because he was arrested, right, by the special prosecutor. Allegations are that he was using his position, abusing his incumbency, using monies there to finance delegates and party officers in his constituency to aid his cause, right? And that has been reported to the special prosecutor. He has been arrested and bailed. That already throws up a very interesting contest. Mr. Nyimido has denied that he was behind that particular report because he wanted to take him out. And many speculated that he was the one because, remember, the last primary, the gap between these two, they came face to face, they clashed in 2020. The gap between these two was 41 votes. And that was very close. The man is coming back. Now he has more resources as NEIP boss, and that gap can close. And so we're watching this space very closely. And one of the things we're doing for you is watching constituencies where we have incumbents coming up against other aspirants who they've contested before. We're going to look at the margins in the last time and whether they can close it. So you can see the threat. This man gave him a good run for his money in 2020, reduced his votes. Gab was 41 votes. He's incumbent. Can he turn the 41 votes around in his favor now on Saturday? A key question that we need to answer indeed. Of course, you have Nana Juman in there. This case we are watching very closely. And then you have Katie Hammond's case. I interviewed him. He's the minister, the trade minister. Very controversial, but he speaks his mind. He's incumbent member of parliament for the Dansia Sokwa in the Ashanti region. He is coming up against three other individuals. And the fascinating thing about this is he sent a petition to the party to disqualify the three on various grounds. Look closely and you'll find a possible reason. Because Samuel Darkwa Benfo was his main contender in the 2020 primary. And he managed to close the gap, gave Katie Hammond a good run for his money with a difference of just 58 votes in that particular contest, right? And so that was close. He had 180 of the votes, and he secured more than 200 of them, right? And that there tells you the story. Can he cause him an upset? And if you're incumbent, you're watching the man who nearly gave me one that would kick me out of parliament, would you stand to allow him to contest? If you can get the party to legitimately disqualify him, would you try? Well, he did. The party disagreed, and so he's on the ballot. If you put him on the ballot, it makes this particular constituency very, very interesting to watch, and we'll be watching that very, very closely. And then you have the information minister, Inufuasia Yerebi. He's coming up against two other people. And this really is a contest that we are watching very closely. He is the information minister. He's the incumbent member of parliament for the area. But two contests. And as we know already, it's keen. But we'll watch this very closely. We have correspondents on the ground who will bring us the very latest, because he's coming up against the former national chairman of the GRA Workers' Union. If you know anything about Workers' Union leaders, they know their politics. And that possibly is what he's going to bring to bear. But Kojo also knows his politics. You don't get into parliament, become an information minister from a deputy position, and not know your staff when it comes to the ground game. He spent some time in the constituency trying to get delegates to vote for him. You can't take anything for granted. And this is a race that we are going to watch very closely, because the intelligence there suggests it is one you cannot take your eye off. And Asin Central is there. Why Asin Central? This is a very simple reason why we are highlighting this one area as to what Kennedy Pond factor. This is his constituency. He's decided not to run again, and so he's opened up the field for three individuals to contest. He, Joseph Ajayi Benin, Obed Kumi Iwa, and Godfred Aniwu. They will attempt to replace him. The thing is, we've been trying to find out which of these has the blessing of Kennedy Pond. Kennedy Pond is very busy in his brother's constituency in the Ashanti campaigning for him. So he hasn't spent too much time in his own constituency, but he will have influences there. Whoever gets that, and the delegates know it, may have an advantage. So we'll watch that very closely come election day on Saturday. And then you have a situation where the Deputy Minister for Employment and Labour, Bribe Rekubebe, who is incumbent member of parliament in the Heman Lower Dentra constituency, is coming up against a man who is, many say, has the resources because he is a CEO of the Ghana Eggs and Bag. So that, again, is going to be a very interesting contest. There will be giant killings on Saturday. And question is, can he do so against the incumbent now? The polls tell a very interesting story. And Global Info Analytics has been doing some work in some of the constituencies. If we go to Bantama, where the brother of Kennedy Pond is, they say Francis Nsubuachi, who is the Minister for Works and Housing, will win significantly with 94%. We will see. The delegates will have the final verdict. If you go to Adansia Soka constituency, they say Katie Hammond will win. But pay attention to undisclosed, undecided, far higher than those who have actually decided. And this is what is dangerous for Katie Hammond in his constituency. One of the very important things to watch. You come to the Dom Kwabenya constituency, Michael Quake Jr., according to the Global Info Analytics poll, should win this against Sarah Jasafo. But again, undisclosed, undecided. Very important to watch. They are the most dangerous bunch of people when it comes to respondents in this. You have Frida Prempe and Gideon Bako also contesting. The undisclosed is very, very important also in that particular constituency. Now, this is why you stay with your election headquarters. My guests will join me. We have 1 hour conversation taking us to 10:30 tonight when we talk to the new faces here on PM Express. Stay with me.
fortunate, Gideon, in my constituency, out of 600 delegates, this Christmas, my MP selected 200 of them and donated those items. So clearly, you could see that there is a very sharp division, even at the constituency level, in terms of the polling station executives throughout the rank and file up to the constituency executives. So this disunity clearly is unable to fetch us the votes that we want.
Yeah, I mean, you're focusing on incumbent, but you also have a former member of parliament in that race.
No, but he has been rejected twice by the same delegate. So I think his issue is even dead on arrival. On 2 occasions, the former member of parliament has been rejected twice. You had a time, you had opportunity to serve. You did what you could do based on the delegates. They are able to measure and say that, look, this is what you were able to do. So you leave the scene for somebody to continue. So I don't want to focus much on him. I think the focus should be on the incumbent MP. But I mean, bottom line is that we are coming in, like I indicated. If you look at the voter trend and the voter analysis, if you look at the fact that the constituency of Kojo, the constituency of Prestige, the constituency of Anna, I mean, today, if you hear of Asante Achim, what are some of the remarks and what are some of the comments that follows? Known for Tagri, known for, it is, if you recall, just the 2020 elections, you had a whole leadership of the party supported one candidate and was able to disrespect a whole decision of a competent court of jurisdiction and go and have an election where a candidate have 500 and gave the other candidate 1. When you do that, there is no way that people are of the opponent are going to vote for you. And that was the basis of the disunity that we are having in this constituency. Unfortunately for us, the current leadership, that is the constituency executive, the chairman, also doing the same. So we are coming in as a new face, like what Kumawu did, where after the demise of the late honorable...
Did you say that the constituency executives are also pursuing this line of disunity?
Yes, because, I mean, if you look at Asante Achim, for instance, at every point, a few executives want to make decisions for the over 600 polling executives.
And are they doing this in furtherance of the incumbent's interest?
No, the incumbent has been extremely unpopular. Nothing can save him. But of course, I think if you look at a lot of the constituency executives, they come from a section or part of the constituency where they believe that by all means at all costs, the voter party should move in a certain direction. I mean, that is not even an issue, but it doesn't set a good precedent. It continues to breed the disunity that we are talking about. And so at the end of the day, what I'm talking about is that the constituency would need a new face. Like when Kumawu had a new face, you realize that the independent candidate, his performance really went down. If you come to Asante Achim, for instance, because of the division between the Kojoba's camp and the Apia Kubi's camp, today we are having a strong independent candidate who was even a member of the NPP coming up. And so we are coming in as a new face.
And you're preaching unity, so you will unite them. We'll see what the delegate says. But let me bring in Claudia into this. Now, Claudia, you, among the three, and you admitted at the beginning, I mean, you're very new to this. What has been the biggest surprise for you? What has surprised you the most?
Okay, I think the biggest surprise for me is when you approach people and tell them your plan, your strategic plan, how you believe that lives of delegates will be different, how you believe that we can grow our numbers in terms of votes. And then after everything, they will tell you, okay, it's about resources anyway. Do you get what I mean? I think that's one thing that shocked me more.
In other words, at the end of delivering your message, they go,
yes.
Where's the cash?
Not where's the cash, but it's like they've listened to you, so they're expecting you to maybe look after them or something like that. But for me, I think, the message and why you're there should be a priority. But I think that was the biggest shock for me.
So, in other words,
but
for the delegates you've encountered, it doesn't appear to you that the message is some of them. The message is the priority.
Yes. Some of them, I feel that when you're so passionate about what you want to achieve in the constituency, and Ashanti region is somewhere that a lot of work has to go in if we want to really break the 8. So for me, if you want to be a leader, and especially in Ashanti region, you have to be intentional with the work that you want to do. You have to be quite strategic with the work that you want to do. And, and that's the kind of work and message that I'm trying to put across. And sometimes when you feel like people are not about the message, people are not about the work, people are not about the type of leadership that you want them to understand, or the example you want to set, it's a little bit sad. But I guess, I guess you just need to keep pushing.
And when they make the demand of you after you deliver your message, what's your reaction to them? What do you tell them?
I think one thing that I've made it very clear, and I've been able to achieve that I am here to serve, and I put my work as the priority. I put my message as the priority. And I think my delivery and how I've been able to conduct myself in the last 3 years in the constituency is gained a lot of respect. It's gained a lot of great reputation as the woman that I am. The way I am in business circle, and how I have built my business and how I have built my reputation, work with integrity. That's how I deliver my message. And I've been able to work on that for people to understand the person that I am. So for me, it's understanding the type of service I want to present, the type of leader I want to be. What are the key things I want to achieve in this constituency if Oforikrom people give me 4 years to serve? That is the message I want people to understand. Yeah. And when I go around, that's all I want them to know.
Gloria, do you know that the way politics is played in Ghana, if you do not pay, you will lose? Do you know that?
I will not use the word pay because I do not think that.
If you don't do the bidding of the delegates, when you finish delivering and they say, yeah, but where's the cash? When they say that and you don't respond in kind, when I mean kind, you know what I mean, yes. with the Lucci, you will lose.
I think we all go into this. Everybody go into this knowing that you need resources to do this. But for me, they're a very respectable way of doing this. So of course, if I invite somebody over, if I invite you to my house, I'll give you a drink, I'll give you dinner, I'll give you food. And if I'm kind, I may even ask my driver to drop you.
Oh, you ask your driver to drop me?
No, I'm telling you.
Evans. Oh, me. Okay, yeah. Evans. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't mind your driver. I know you have a good car.
Yeah, I'm saying that if I invite you, Evans, to my house, I will definitely give you a drink. Okay. I'll give you food. Yeah. And I may ask you if you didn't come with a car, that can I drop you or can I get an Uber for you? So it's just the way Ghanaians, and it's just, being have a nice reception for people. So of course, if you invite 100 people to speak to them, it's only nice that people have been there for an hour or two, but I will not say that you're paying them, but you're being respectful of their time. So for that reason, and I believe that's what NPP stand for. I mean, our party rules and everything, it's not a practice that you're paying people for something, but you're respecting people's time. And for that reason, you will also be nice to people and say, okay, maybe take this for transportation or, take a drink or something. But it's not, I would never use the word pay. But I think it's me being respectful of people and their time.
Okay, so you have to do that, but you also need to prioritize the message. I think that's what you're saying. You want to prioritize the message.
You
want to prioritize the message.
For me, that's the sad part. And that how people are receiving your message instead of, receiving the message. And for me, because Evans, end of the day, why are we here? I am a businesswoman. Why am I trying to do this? Because I'm very intentional with why I'm doing this. I've successfully built my business for 13 years, and I've built a great reputation for myself in Ghana and globally, and a great name for myself. So why am I coming here? I'm coming here because I absolutely believe in NPP Party. It's the party that I can trust my children's future with. And I am from Ashanti region, born and bred here. So if I want to serve, and if I want to do that, I want to do that gracefully, and I want to do that with integrity. So for me, that's the kind of thing. I want people to understand the type of leader I will be. I want people to buy into the message. I want people to vote for me because they know what Claudia is capable of. They know that I can help NPP Noforikrom to grow our vote from 62,000 to 80,000, because we have over 100,000 people Oforikrom alone that vote, have registered and can vote. But last election, we got 62,000. That means that in Oforikrom, we have almost 40,000 people that did not even bother to go and queue to vote. So it's a big issue. And for me, for the party, for me, it's a big burden on me. And I believe that the party and the delegates is also a big burden on them. So who is the type of leader that will come in, bring people together? Oforikrom have Angnoga, which is part of NDC's area. We have Zongos here. We have the university in Ashanti region is based here. So Ken University is based in this constituency. How are we going to inspire the youth, give them hope again to want to go and vote? So for me, it's about things that we are strategically putting in place, and the kind of leadership we are trying to inspire. To
have you found this process? Have you found this process too expensive?
Absolutely. Very expensive. I think I should have mentioned that's one of my biggest shock, but also it could be that my constituency is really big, and it could be that because I have almost 1,200 delegates. So working within a constituency like that is, you need a lot of resources to do that. And it's not easy. It's been hard. It's been tough. It's really draining of time and resources and effort and everything, especially when you really want to see good results. So I think that's been the painful part for me.
How much have you spent? How much have you spent so far?
Evans, I am broke right now.
Well, you want to go to Parliament. So.
You don't want to see my bank account, but we are doing it for Ghana. We're doing it for NPP, the party that I believe in.
Have you crossed $1 million yet?
Oh my God, long ago, way long time ago.
Wow.
Maybe my first year.
I see.
And I've done this for 3 years on the ground, working with delegates for 3 years.
Yes. Stay with me. Let me bring Gideon. Gideon, that subject of resources keeps coming up in campaigns. How are you funding yours, though? Because the reality is the delegates expect that the message is great, and we've talked about the messaging already, but you would also have to put some resources on the table. How are you funding yours?
Yeah, Evans, let me say that it depends. Sometimes the personalities and the way you go about things count a lot. If you have very good relationship with the people and you've been with them in the trenches at their times of needs, even when you had not aspired to this position, and you come to them now, they show some level of love also to you. And I'll give you this example. I remember when I contested for Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer at then times, there were constituencies that I went to, and the constituency executives that I had gone to campaign to actually put their hands into their pockets, raise monies, and give them to me to fund my campaign. And I'm seeing similar thing in Turner of constituency. In fact, the delegates I've been going to have been so much good. They've done so much good to me.
When you said you've seen the same thing, I was curious to hear you say delegates are possibly contributing to fund your campaign. But of course, that's not what it is.
If you followed me on my social media handles, there are a lot of campaign staff that were given to me by some delegates. In fact, when I was going to pick my nomination forms was paid by one Larry, who is a polling station secretary. He went to the bank, did a banker's draft, and gave it to me.
But come on, these people who pick nomination, we all know this is something that you candidates and aspirants orchestrate.
Evans, no, you wouldn't believe it. I have T-shirts, just today, some polling station executives in one zone, Adroba zone, brought me 100 T-shirts. And it's not something that happens all the time, but this is what I'm experiencing. I'm not saying that the bulk of the finances and the resources I'm using are coming from polling station executives, but they have showed love to me. They have made me feel that the kind of relationship I've built with them over the years is something that they cherish and I appreciate. And that's something that is happening in this constituency. So I am not spending so much in terms of resources to kind of, who entice delegates. And actually, they don't demand from me. But, in this game, before you step out to contest for elections, you must check yourself and know that you're ready for that.
But Gideon, I need to answer a question that may also apply to Kwesi Kwarteng. Is what you're saying possibly because they see you're coming directly from the vice president's stock? You may be his darling boy. And he's a flag bearer of the party. They want to be careful to reward you because of your associations with the vice president. Is that what it is?
I wouldn't say that. If you come to Tananov constituency and you ask anybody about me, they know I'm the people's person. I love people and I appreciate my people. And they have also reciprocated that in many ways. I'm not saying this because I'm speaking to you now. If you come to the grounds, you will see it. Over the years, I've built very good relationship with the people. I've been down there with them, doing everything for them. Every occasion I'm available. I'm so accessible to them. There are a lot of them feel that I am a brother to them and they see me as, senior bro, junior bro. As for you, we have to do this for you. And that is where the inspiration is coming from. It's not because of my office. My office has nothing to do with my relationship with the people. It's just because they see me as somebody who has been with them. And I've been very, very humble. And anybody who knows me, that I come down to people's level and I relate to them in that particular manner and fashion. And so that is what is keeping us afloat and keeping us going.
And this is just a personal curiosity. This is a personal curiosity. Has the vice president backed you in this race?
When you say back me, what do you mean?
Oh, well, I mean, he's the vice president. He is a flag bearer of the party. Has he been talking to delegates on your behalf, possibly?
No, the vice president wouldn't do that for any reason. That's no way. He would do that. He wouldn't do that. He knows I'm into the contest. He knows I'm contesting just as any other person that I had to inform and talk to is aware. But I'm doing my campaign on my own. I'm running a very decent campaign. I'm running a very frugal campaign. And so I don't think I have been lacking to depend on resources from government or my office.
Has the vice president given you resources? Has he supported with resources? Money?
I've not received any resources of that nature yet. And so everything I do, I try to talk to a few friends around. I try to talk to people who can help me, my own resources that I put together, and sometimes some family help. And everybody who gives me anything, I put it out. When I was going to file my nomination, there are some childhood friends of mine, some medical doctors, bankers, they came together, they paid it for me. When I finished everything, a cousin of mine in the US openly came out, gave me some money. Other people raised money. It's my hometown. They did a dinner for me. They raised money for me. And I haven't spent so much, to be honest with you, since I started the campaign. There are sometimes people need stuff. You talk to a few friends, I have this. Why don't you take it? And that's what is happening. I don't know what will happen on Saturday. They say D-Day operations and whatever. I haven't been able to put things together yet.
Well, I tell you that you do not and cannot take D-Day operations for granted. But let me quickly bring in my other two panelists who are joining me, and I'll give the final word to Charles Bishu. But Mr. Kwarteng, you have a similar story to that of Gideon Bako, because you also have a father figure, if you like, who in the education minister. You mentioned that he's been supporting you, he encouraged you, etc. Has he been active in your campaign on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, clearly, you wouldn't expect him to do that, particularly when he has his colleague member of parliament also within the context. So it wouldn't be fair for him to actively come on the ground to campaign for me.
What support has he given you? What support has he given you so far?
I was coming there, but of course, if you are a very good servant and you take your work very seriously, definitely you are going to get the blessings of your father. So what I can say is I have his blessings to contest. I informed him. He wished me well. Obviously, prayed for me, and indeed encouraged me to contest. And at the end of the day, even advised that my good works will speak for me. So yes, he's with me. He's supporting me, but in terms of coming to the grounds to campaign to people, that has not happened yet. But of course, in terms of support, I have been relying on friends. You see, when you do not have resources, you have to be resourceful. And I have always been selling my message to the people, using education as a way of transforming the socioeconomic fortunes of Asante Achim North constituency or district. A lot of people believe in that vision. They have been very supportive. They help in many ways. I recall a publisher friend that I had, after I sold the vision to him, gave me books worth more than 600,000 Ghana cedis to distribute and donate to the people. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I believe in education. I know that the foundation of the education literally hangs on reading, arithmetic, and, of course, calculations. So he gave the books as a way of donation. And, I mean, it was not really anchored on any strings attached. Again, you have other people that are also supporting. There are some chiefs who may not want their names to be in the public domain. Some market women. I mean, it will interest you to know that sometimes you receive some of the donations as meager as it may look, but you look at it from the place of genuineness, from the place of support. And you appreciate that, yes, this person is really supporting. So they have been largely from friends, from family, from the people, from the chiefs, and largely also some delegate friends who believes in the vision that indeed the only way of transforming our socioeconomic fortunes is through education. So those are the people that have been supporting. But of course, the election is not over yet, and I'm very expectant that my boss will also support fully. That is very rational to think, and is only
especially when he has no contest in his constituency, you know, and because he's going to propose.
Yeah, he'll bring cash. So we are hoping.
And you are hoping that he's listening right now and say, oh, when he finishes, he's going to give you a call and say, Kwesi,
he will bring cash. He will bring cash. I mean, it's fair. I mean, since I work with him, definitely it's fair that he supports me. And of course, he's also seen my hard work within the short period that I've had the opportunity to work with him. So, I mean, ordinarily, who would he rather support? It makes sense for him to support me. But of course, he's also mindful, and the balance is also well created.
But you're not cash strapped, are you?
That's what I'm saying, that I have received tremendous support that I can't even measure. I was not even thinking I was going to get that level of support. I started my campaign actively for the past 2 years. And at every point, I've received massive support from friends and family. Like Gideon said, if you come to my constituency, particularly in constituencies where the MPs become very unpopular, a lot of people are willing to sacrifice everything to jettison the MP out. So when you fall in the line, you get all the needed support very easily and freely without any conditions. I'm just a beneficiary of a poor performance from a sitting MP, and the fact that we
interesting perspective there. And to you, Charles, talking about resources. This is a game you've played. You've contested many times in other. You're possibly the most experienced contestant among the four. How have you found this one? This one is slightly different. It's a constituency you want to go to Parliament. In terms of resources, you have enough?
Yeah. So I've always said that in our nomination forms, it states in there that you must be resourceful to be able to contest. And so I've always had a problem with that definition, because most people who contest believe that you must have a stash of cash in your room.
Do you have a stash of cash in your room?
Yeah, to contest. So that's the
That's the view, but I'm asking you, do you have a stash of cash in your room?
So if you allow me to define it, then I'll actually break it down for you, So basically, they think that you have to have a stash of cash. No, but the resourcefulness, I define it as being able to have a proper network, just as my brothers are saying. So the person giving you the venue, the person coming with the pure water, the person actually giving you fuel and all that, that helps, because having the stash of cash in your room doesn't mean you're going to be a successful politician. For example, within my constituency, over the years, there are some of the delegates have taken them to university, over 20 boys, youth, that have taken them to university, and some of them are delegates. They are working for me. These guys do not expect anything from me until when it gets to the time to pay the school fees. The other people that I've actually given jobs to when I was the regional secretary, they are working for me. I'm out of the 3 contestants, I'm the only indigenous hunter here. So I have a lineage, you see. So when you're doing that, gradually you're picking them up. I have a canoe, I'm a fisherman, you understand? So I have people from the coastal belt supporting. So that's how you become resourceful in actually putting things together to win an election. So yes, you can have $1 million, 1 million cities, and go into an elections and then think that you're going to buy votes. But then I'm talking about lineage here, people that I've taken to school, and I do not think that they're going to take money on the day and vote for me. And again, Evans, we're looking at it from this point. Is it the general elections that we talk about inducement, or within the internal elections? I do not know if there are any laws pertaining to that. Because within the internal elections, we motivate our people, because the party officers, we think about their welfare, they're not being paid. So if I am taking care of the welfare of a student, that person votes for me on a certain day. Are you going to call that bribery because he's been taking money over some time? You know what I mean? And then that person who says that I'm going to vote for you, I need my child is in the hospital and you pay for the fees. How are you going to translate that? So I think we need to look at the laws within that context. Then there's a clear demarcation of bribery in voting and actually helping people within that. For me, my delegates, what I've said to them is that when I ran around, I thought that for me to actually get that orientation of them being party officers, there has to be a welfare fund for them. I've said, okay, I'm going to put an amount of money out of my salary, because 8 years as a regional secretary, I wasn't earning any salary. I was able to take care of people within the party. Can I take my salary as the member of parliament and actually form a welfare fund for them? So what I've done is I've formed a 5-member committee, electoral area committee, rep, polling station rep, constituency rep, council of elders, and the patrons, 5 committee. They are going to take care of it, so that in future, if any other member of parliament comes in, there's pressure on you to take care of the delegates. So because they do the grassroots work, they are the retailers of the party. And how do we resource them? It doesn't have to be only when we're going to vote that you do that for them. But there has to be something, funerals, weddings, and all that.
Yeah. I mean, Charles, Dr. Gideon Bako, Kwesi, and Claudia, I want to wish you all the best on Saturday. Saturday, we'll be talking to you too, just to find out how it's going. All the best on Saturday.
Continue.
And by the end of the day, I will say, well, all 4 guys who came on my show, well, see how they performed. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.